What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today, we're going to talk about negativity. And I've been thinking a lot about how our evolution as a species affects us in the current day. And I know there's a lot of talk about this with, living primally or living in a way that our ancestors intended us to live. And I'm simply using this to discuss the psychology in which we approach our life now and how we're actually filtering out for negativity. So let me explain. When you look back to when we were hunter-gatherers thousands of years ago, you were not rewarded for thinking positive. If you're out there looking at the sunrise and thinking, oh man, I'm filled with gratitude right now, and then all of a sudden a panther comes out and eats you alive, there's no correlation between a positive feeling or a positive vibe and success in life. When you look back at the core meaning of success, it means to be able to pass your genes on to the next generation, at least when it relates to our evolution as a species. And so when we're hunter-gatherers thousands and thousands of years ago, we're running around in the wild, you had to filter for negative events. You had to filter for threats, for danger, for the potential for something to come out and eat you or your family. And you had to protect these. You had to protect these things at all costs. And that is what your mindset was focused on. That is what your mind was attuned to, was the negative. It wasn't attuned to, if I think positive, I'm going to be able to change my life, as it is in today's society, where we have an infinite amount of tools and resources, and social dynamics are far more important in terms of thinking positive and relating to other people in a positive way. You can actually be rewarded for that nowadays. But back in the day, that was not the case. And this also explains why, if you've achieved great things, like look at a celebrity, for example, or a professional athlete, if you have objectively achieved amazing things in your life and you are objectively a success, how is it possible that people are still negative? How is it possible that celebrities still grapple with addiction, with vices, with an inability to maintain a positive mindset? That is hardwired into us. It is impossible for you to overcome thousands and thousands of years of evolutionary programming. But to be successful in today's day and age, we need to find a way to do this. We need to find a way to focus on the positive, because positivity leads to abundance, which leads to many bountiful rewards in your life and a better life overall. And to transform your vision towards positivity as opposed to negativity, it's going to take years and years and years of practice, years of being intentional with your thoughts. You're programmed to look for the negative. And this is constantly being reinforced in everything that you see on a daily basis, in the news, in social media. As you go about your business in the world, you're going to see headlines that are focused on the negative, because that's what gets clicks. That's what gets people to pay attention, is the negative. That's why you see serial killer documentaries being so intriguing for thousands of people, because these things are focused inherently on something that is awful, that is negative, but it draws in our attention. We can't help it. We get fixated on it, If it's something that's just all good news and it's all positive and there's no negative kind of like character arc or a drawback for what somebody's doing, or something that taps into that deep, dark part of our psychology, we're not going to pay attention to it, right? So these things are being pushed on us every single day, and we need to combat this. And so how do we do that? How do we reprogram our mind for positivity? Now, there's a couple key things that I like to do that I found to keep me in a positive state and keep me uplifted throughout the majority of my time. One of these is to develop a gratitude practice. Now, developing a gratitude practice, you can take this extremely far, or you can just do it at a surface level. And I recommend, if you're just starting out and you're just beginning to realize, oh shit, I am actually in a negative frame for the majority of my days, I need to start doing something small to get me out of this state. You can start by doing a very small amount of journaling in the morning. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for. It's as simple as that. These can be the fact that you're able-bodied. It could be that you have a loving family. It could be that you have a job. It could be that you have the ability to do whatever your favorite hobby is. It could be as simple as that, right? But the fact that you draw those up to the forefront of your mind when you start your day, I like to do this in the morning, it puts you in a positive frame starting out your day. And so if you can do this, you can just do this basic thing to start to rewire your mind for positivity. It will make a difference over time. Every single time that you do this and you begin your day on the right foot, taking a positive step forward, you're going to be putting yourself into that positive frame and fundamentally transforming your day. Another thing that I've done to transform my mindset towards positivity is to limit my news intake. And I've spoken about this before, but back in the day, 2020 era, in the pandemic, I was consuming news like crazy. I was watching every single headline. I was looking up what was happening in India, what was happening in Italy, like what were the death rates, what was the spread of COVID looking like. And over time, this started wearing on me. And you paired that with some of the things that were going on in the US at the time with the election and with some racial injustice that was happening and everything that I was seeing in the news. It was too much to handle. And it was actually affecting my mental health in a very, very profound way. So what I did at that point in 2020, a little bit later in 2020, is I decided that I was not going to consume the news mindlessly. There's kind of a balance you need to find between just being uninformed and not knowing what the hell is going on in the world versus consuming it just like it's a habit, consuming it for no reason whatsoever, just because that's what you feel like you need to do. And I was doing this in the morning, like basically first thing in the morning as I was having my morning coffee, I was just turning on the news, reading Reuters or reading AP News, whatever it was, and just trying to keep myself informed. But I didn't really have a purpose for this. I didn't have a goal. That there wasn't like something I could do or some sort of way that I could take this knowledge and then apply it in my life. And I realized that it wasn't serving me. There are some drawbacks to this. If you're not paying attention to certain things, they can start to transform in society and become something much bigger. And you won't be able to catch it in time if you're not really watching it very closely. And I mean long-term trends, whether that's with the economy, whether that's with social media or technology. If you're not paying a little bit of attention to these things, they can come and blindside you. So you need to find a time where you consume the news or you stay informed, or you listen to podcasts, or you try and get up to speed on a certain topic, but do it with a very focused intention. Don't just open up your news app with the intent of scrolling and reading news for an hour. Like that's not really going to do you much at all. I would suggest looking at a topic, science, technology, AI, maybe, diving into an article on the current state of AI, like have that as your goal and your intention when you seek out the news, instead of just opening it up and just accepting whatever's thrown at you. And then also, given the fact that we're hardwired for negativity, it's important to surround yourself by people who are doing this exact same thing in their own lives. We've all heard the saying that you are a reflection of your 5 closest friends. And this is no joke, like I've experienced this living with different roommate groups over the last 10 years and being surrounded by different people. Even if you're not really conversing with those people or hanging out with them 24/7, their habits, their ways of living, their cooking, how clean they are, how loud they are, like all of this kind of stuff will affect you. It'll affect your mood, and you need to be very, very careful about who you're letting into your life in that intimate of a setting. You want to filter out for people that can infect you with positive energy. People that are going to lift you up, that are going to encourage you to pursue habits that are good for you or ways of living that are going to take you in the right direction. The more that you surround yourself with people who are down in the dumps, that have a negative mood or have a negative frame or a scarcity mindset, the more that is going to rub off on you. And it's no joke. It happens really quickly. Even if you're really insulated in your mindset, like even if you really have it dialed in, it's impossible, because humans we mirror each other, and we watch other people. Even if it's subconsciously, we're observing what they're doing and how they're acting, and that is slowly starting to filter into your mind and affect your own habits and your own actions. So that's what we have to do to combat thousands of years of negative programming. And it's not easy. It takes years of being intentional with this to create the change that you want in your life, but it is possible. It is possible. We have to stay diligent. We have to stay extremely focused on this, but over time, you'll find yourself being in that positive mind frame the majority of the time. And that's all you can ask for. I'm not saying that anybody's going to be positive 100% of the time. That's virtually impossible. We are emotional beings too, and we are affected by negative mood swings and little things that we will observe or that we'll go through, challenges, etc. in our lives. They are going to bring us down at times, but all you can ask for is that trend line is going up slowly.